Volunteers gather to feed the local community.
We feed here in Len Fox Park at Labrador each week between 70 and sometimes 100 people. And in Surfers Paradise, we only recently started that, we feed between 20 and 40 people each week.
I volunteer 4 days a week. I do washing with Orange Sky and with Rosie's Outreach at a park in Nerang, and on a Saturday at Surfers Paradise for breakfast in the morning. I volunteer because I feel it's a responsibility to give back a little bit, having had a reasonably good life, and I see that there's people who have been, for often no fault of their own, very unfortunate. A lot of the people are homeless, some are drug addicts, some have mental health problems, but it doesn't matter which. They all have a need.
My name's Tula. We have a cafe down here at Labrador. Of course, we're very big in community and try to give back to the community as much as we can. And we said absolutely, we'll be there. And we just started doing the feeds every Tuesday. And we actually feel really good about doing the feeds. Even our cooks and our team are all on board. They actually every Tuesday morning get in and go, what are we cooking for these guys today? So, and if we don't have a lot of food left over, sometimes we'll donate drinks and maybe some other pantry items as well. Like today, we've donated more of that today than we have food, but we do fried rice and salads and stuff. So yeah, but we love it.
The community feeds provide a vital service to disadvantaged community members, especially the homeless.
I think there's a variety of people that come. I see families who've fallen on hard times, who are not necessarily homeless, but they're on welfare and it's not enough to feed the kids. And there are some people who just don't have the capacity to organise their lives, to feed themselves.
You know, it's a real social problem for the community, and these people have probably worked hard all their lives and then find themselves on the street for whatever reason. They deserve to be looked after. A lot of people become homeless and have food insecurities through all sorts of circumstances, things that have happened in their lives, loss of jobs, breakup of relationships, they get into drugs, they get into alcohol, and, you know, before they know it, they find themselves on the streets. Or those that do get a benefit find that by the time they've paid their rent, they have no money left for buying food, buying all those little niceties that make life, you know.
Some of them are literally homeless. They sleep in the parks, on benches. They sleep on the beach, and they sleep just about anywhere where they can be left alone. And that's no easy task, because there's always people wanting to either assault them, or in the case of police, wanting to move them on. So it's a pretty uncomfortable life for these people. And you know, their demographic, they range in age from, there's one fellow here today, in fact, he's 19 years old. He's homeless. And then we have others, another gentleman over there, he's 82 years old, been homeless for many, many years. And he sleeps in and around this park, actually, wherever he can.
However, with the increased cost of living, many community members struggle to cover their household bills and have very little money left over, and therefore can't afford to feed themselves nutritious or healthy meals. Many are going without.
So I think the food insecurity for most people is there is a big cost in living, and it's getting more and more. Even people like us as business owners, we are struggling with just overheads, gas and rent, and electricity, and you know, there's a knock-on effect. So most people on the Gold Coast, especially ever since after the Commonwealth Games, I truly believe this, have struggled with many insecurities, including food insecurity. It's not that there's not enough, but there's just not enough money out there to purchase everything that we need.
We're not for people such as ourselves, and there are other organisations doing much the same thing. Were it not for people like the movement, then these people would, in a lot of cases, literally starve.
Food insecurity is a national problem, and it's getting worse.
Need for to look after the homeless and the food deprived people on the Gold Coast is enormous, and one only has to walk around the back streets of Surfers Paradise to see those people who are really in dire straits.
And every day, every week, there are more and more people joining these lines because it's bloody hard out there, and it's getting harder. We have people knocking on our door 2, 3, 4 times a day looking for a job that I can't give them. The only thing I can do is probably give them a coffee or a free meal. But I see it more and more, and in the last 10 years, it's getting really scary. All I can say is 2 paychecks away from someone else having a line up here, and everyone should get down and help.
According to the Food Bank Hunger Report, the proportion of Australians seeking food relief has increased from 46% to 51% in the last 12 months. The Movement Gold Coast not only coordinate community feeds down at Labrador and Surfers Paradise for the homeless, but they also assist other community members that are living between Ormeau and Mudgeeraba that are suffering from food insecurity due to financial hardship. Many of these low socioeconomic people access the bread and food hampers every Monday, Wednesday and Friday. They also conduct non-perishable drives and winter drives and collect donations from the community to help those disadvantaged.
I now look after women's clothing and toiletries, all the bits and pieces that women need and that makes them feel good about themselves. In addition to that, I help with clothing children, babies, also toys, books, any bits and pieces that children need, and I do this from home.
Here we hand out lovely clothing to the homeless, and that's a service which is greatly valued and cherished by our homeless friends. Of course, also, like everyone, they need toiletries, toilet paper, toothpaste, and toothbrushes and deodorant, and we have a channel whereby we supply that to our homeless friends also. We make up hampers and we give them to those who are deemed to be perhaps the most needy. It's a tough decision, but we have to make it. And we don't sell them, we give them away. So sometimes there's plenty of food, other times there's not much at all. But we just do the best we can.
Even though local, state and federal MPs have acknowledged there is a problem that needs to be addressed, little is being done to improve the standards of living and eliminate food insecurity within Australia.
The government needs to start listening to people and start coming along to these events and find out what's going on. The government does do a lot, but it's not productive and it's not enough. It needs to go and find out what these people need and what they require. And it's going to be not the handouts and it's the hand-ups that's going to help people. Like I know organisations overseas that are actually, for people that are absolutely destitute and homeless, opening up their car parks at night to try and let people have somewhere to sleep in a safe environment. Like there's so much we have available here all around us that we can do without costing much more money to provide for the community. Just get out there and just talk.
I see it at my local schools. Most of them will be running breakfast programs for their kids to just get a good feed at the start of a day, which has fruit and cereal and toast and those sort of things. Here we've got families with kids, we've got older people, we've got young blokes who are trying to find a job. I mean, it hits everyone across society, and especially in this area, I think you're seeing rents that are going up. We've got, in my area at least, I've got the most renters of any area on the Gold Coast, which is about 46% of households here. So that's a big proportion of people who are struggling with those everyday bills that just keep rising and rising.
What the government needs to do is look again at this whole problem of homelessness and what they can do about it. I guess they tend to get pushed under the carpet to a large extent and get moved on when people, complain that there are homeless people around.
Even our local government wants us to move on from feeding people in the park. That's how much they care. And the federal and state government probably cares less, because no one wants to accept the responsibility for people who are not taxpayers or ratepayers or income earners. As far as they're concerned, they're invisible. as far as the government is concerned, they don't want to know. I think there's no compassion for these people, you know. And little do they know that there's so many people who walk in the streets are only 6 weeks away from being homeless if they lose their jobs, you know, and they're renting, they're out, you know. Life is not all beer and skittles.
I think the government could do more when it comes to homelessness, particularly in this area, but it's fantastic to see a community group who are stepping up and who are taking it upon themselves to help resolve it, like Rue are with the movement.
There is a desperate need and growing demand for help across many communities on the Gold Coast. To get a sense of life for those living below the poverty line, I've spent time with 2 people willing to share their personal stories, along with those that changed their lives.
The movement, the Rosies, all these charity organizations, if they didn't exist, I think, first of all, there'd be a lot more crime. People wouldn't have places to go. People would be a lot more angry, a lot more bitter about their situations. I'd probably be dead if these, because I wouldn't have anywhere else to go. There's a lot of people who have no support network, or they came here by themselves to the Gold Coast or whatever. They have no support network. Without the movement, they'd be dead or I don't know, somewhere else. I have no idea, but yeah.
Well, community foods are free, and there will be about 60 odd people that turn up here tonight for dinner. And it's the same Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, same sort of deal. This is Tuesday, the movement, the sign. Do dinner tomorrow. I think it's Rosie's tomorrow. And it's all free.
Yeah.
Give me a go. Sunday, Angel's Kitchen. Yesterday, last night here, tonight and tomorrow night. So they'll do a free feed. All sorts. Well, there's a fair range here. Most of them are either on the dole or receiving some sort of community support. Running to the extent where it's not enough for the kids to survive on it, really, because they spend close to spending half my pay in pension in rent, and that's why I come here, because I'll be wasting money on tucker, but I don't want to do that. But coming here, I get 3 feeds a day here, 3 feeds a week here. One on Sundays, Angel's Kitchen, and a quarter from the RSL in Mawson. It's good. I'm happy.
There's food. There's literally food everywhere, but people can't get access to it. Maybe because it's getting thrown out. Maybe some establishments, some restaurants, they don't like giving it away. They don't like donating it to charities or whatever for whatever reason. And I guess they're making the price of food a lot higher than it should be. I don't know why. I don't know what the reason is, but that's the case.
A group of dedicated volunteers begin to set up at Len Fox Park, Labrador, to feed the many community members who visit the park daily to receive their only meal for the day. The Tuesday night feeds have their fair share of regulars, whilst others come and go.
We have a lot of regular diners. I would say 60 to 65% of the people who come here are regular. The other 30% or so are they come and they go.
The community feeds don't just cater for the homeless. There's others that come to escape the loneliness at home. They come down for a feed, but also to socialise and meet with others.
The thing about homelessness is you're by yourself a lot of the time. So being with other people is it's good for that, I guess. Good for health, like your brain. Yeah, you get lonely sometimes. So yeah.
The many volunteers involved in the movement come together not only to do community feeds, but also help with collecting and delivering food hampers during the week. To help combat the shortage in produce and food for community feeds and hampers, many communities are taking on community garden projects. Sam O'Connor, State Member for Bonnie, is involved in the Labrador Community Garden. He discusses the benefits of community gardens to the wider community.
Community gardens are for everyone. We should be able to walk along the street and pick oranges off the fruit trees. It's a fantastic idea. I think the more that we can embrace this, and if they're going to, if it's, You know, a lot of people living in apartments here as well, if they can all come to a place where they can grow their own food, number one, they're going to appreciate their own food more. But anything they can donate or leave over or get people in the community, anyone should be able to go to these places and pick their own fruit and grow their own vegetables or whatever. It only will do good. It's amazing. And if they want to learn how to cook it all, they can come and see places like myself, or there's 1,000 restaurants and cafes up here. I'm sure they can do classes to teach people how to cook it and get the most out of it. And then you've got a lot of retirees that may know how to grow fruit and vegetables that would love to be part of that because they're lonely and they want to be part of something as well. So it's
Whether the community garden that's run well would have excess produce, and if they were to donate it to volunteer organisations, it would work.
I guess community gardens would be a good idea. It may give some of the homeless, a purpose in that they can help in the gardens, but also the food from the community gardens could be used for community groups, to help feed the homeless people.
I think if communities were to create community gardens, it would be beneficial to those below the poverty line for homeless people, because as long as they have somewhere to cook it, it's like there's public places, barbecues and all these sort of places where they could cook these things, as long as they're not kicked out by the council.
I'm very proud to be involved with the Labrador Community Garden. I've been there for a few years now. And essentially it's a place where locals who, especially in this area where a lot of people won't have a backyard, where a lot of us live in apartments or small little townhouses, it gives us a chance to be able to make our own food and to enjoy the benefits of getting out there with other people and the friendships that can create. So we've basically got a system where we've got solar panels on the roof which power the pumps, which get the waters from the tanks that we've got. So we're completely off the grid. And we've got probably have about 50 odd members now, and everyone's got their own little plot and they can just go as they please.
Especially homeless people, people really need something to do, something to occupy themselves with, and they need three things really. Socialization. Humans are social creatures. We need to be around other people. We also need to be occupied. We need to be doing something with ourselves, or else we fall into bad habits, bad circumstances, and also food, of course. So I think it would be beautiful. It would be a really good thing. It would be a great thing if there were community gardens.
Poverty and food insecurity is getting worse. Costs of living are increasing, and community members are doing it tough. More support and funding needs to be provided. There may not be a simple answer to end hunger, but for sure we know that more needs to be done.